What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. So, to be honest, I've kind of been going back and forth with the exact identity of what I want to do with this channel. One of the main identities, obviously, the whole in the name is Rogue YGO. I do talk about more like I do kind of focus a bit more on like rogue strategies, but at the same time, I haven't focused enough on it. In my personal opinion, I have put a couple of deck profiles and a couple of other stuff talked about different good rogue strategies. But I've also kind of just been another big thing about me is looking for cards in the market to kind of continue to build my Yu-Gi-Oh collection and make sure I'm on top of the meta. So I kind of sit there and do market watch, and I've kind of I don't know. I guess what I'm really trying to say is I've really kind of figured out the exact identity for this channel that I want, and what I want it to be is kind of like a channel that a channel that you come to get a little bit of information on the market, but also kind of more focus on like rogue and budget content, because I've kind of realized right now, it's especially in the past couple years, I have been playing a lot of budget Yu-Gi-Oh. Even though I say the word rogue is also budget. Like, essentially, if you're playing rogue, you're playing budget. Of course, there's different levels of budget. I'll do a video talking about talking about my personal opinion on what are different levels of budget, because Yu-Gi-Oh is a different game from other card games. But with all that out the way, I do want to start focusing more on. I'm still gonna be doing market watches and everything and all the other type of content, but I do want to start kind of focusing more on rogue and budget style content. So right now this market watch is kind of focused on that. So if you like what you do, please feel free to like and subscribe. If not, it's all cool. Trying to get a 500, doing all that cool stuff. Gonna do a giveaway. So that was a long intro. Let's get into the video. Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. To be honest, I kind of realized that Unchained became a budget deck. It somewhat became budget deck overnight, simply because of the ban list and all the anticipation. But this is still a really decent deck, and I think right now is the opportunity to where you could jump on Unchained and get it for budget price. Of course, I'm gonna call this like a tier 2 budget. In my personal opinion, there's 3 tiers of budget. There's there's tier 3, which is budget Yu-Gi-Oh. There's tier 2, which is Unchained. And then tier 3 is when you're playing a rogue deck that has maybe has SP Little Knight, or it has a really expensive staple that you can only get for maybe $40 to $100. So I'll do a video talking about my idea on the 3 levels of a budget. But I would put Unchained as a level 2 budget deck, to where you can make it pretty cheap, but you are gonna need some extra stuff to make it work. And right now I'm looking at Yama, and it is I would honestly say crash. It kind of has come up a little bit. So we're looking right here at lightly paid first at $4 with $1 shipping. So we're looking at $5 for the card. To be honest, I would go ahead and jump on and just pick up 3 copies, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh. Budget is like tier 2 budget to me is under $150, and I under 100, maybe $150 to $200. Yu-Gi-Oh is different from a lot of other games, to where budget might be $30. But yeah, that's just kind of how Yu-Gi-Oh is. So I'm looking at Unchained Soul Lord of Yama 6 right here. I'm looking at $5. I'll go and pick it up. $15 for the set, because you're gonna need 3. Then you got Unchained Soul of Rage, which is another card that I would just go, if you're gonna go budget, I would just go with the ultra rare. And right now you get the ultra rares for around the $5 range. So if you get someone who could do $5 flat, it says right here likely first hit for $5.24. But if you're buying a set, they're willing to do $15, then you're at about $30, right now. And then these ones right here, I feel if Unchained performs really well, especially in the next coming events, we don't really have too many events, but we are gonna have a couple events. If Unchained kind of starts to perform and they kind of do some numbers, I do feel like this is gonna really go up. So I would pick up the ultra rare version of this before anything crazy happens, because it kind of it's kind of been falling down. So if you're someone who was thinking about Unchained, even though it did get on the list, it's still a viable budget option. If you're trying to run budget, or if you're trying to run rogue, I think Unchained is a potential tier 1.5 option, depending on how it's running in the pilot. So we're looking at near mint first hit for $644. like I said, if you could get like the set for like, you know, like 15 to $18, you're pretty much at $45 for all like the main cards, and everything else is really not crazy expensive. You're gonna need like 2 of these, but they come in a lot of different versions. You get these for about 50 cents. These right here are about $1 each. The, you know, like the rares are $1, but you get the commons for around 60 cents. You feel me? Like, you could really build this deck for, I really feel like you could build a competent version of this deck for under $150, and that's also going to include like having Ash Blossoms and you know, Infinite Permanence, simply because of the rarity collection, depending on what hand traps you want to run, and all, you know, like depending on what hand traps like you know, you want to run, you could kind of make it like a good budget option. But also depending on the product that you buy, like if you bought a rarity collection box, then you probably have a lot of hand traps. If you bought the Fire King Structure deck, then you have, I think that one comes with Imperm and a Drone Lockbird, so you're literally set with like 2 of the best hand traps right now. So depending on what you have, Unchained is a really good budget option. I just kind of want to put that out there for like the whole, you know, like me going in this new direction of focusing more on budget and rogue content, you know, kind of be like the main focus of the channel. Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn. This is like we're gonna kind of like focus off on more individual cards at this point, and I kind of know, and like I mean to talk, I meant to talk about this in a different market watch, but the one that I released previously was like really rushed, and I went back and recently listened to it, and my god, I need to fix. It's too late now. Like, I've already kind of just let it ride, and that's just how it happens when you're like rushing things out. And like I don't know, I want to blame the NFL playoffs. Like, you know, I'm a fan of football in general, but I do have a spot for the Cleveland Browns. That was my grandfather's team, and you know, when my grandfather passed, you know, my mom said she's gonna you know, hold up the mantle to be a fan for the family, and I decided to go ahead and join her and be a fan of the Cleveland Browns. So I kind of was very depressed about how the freaking playoff game turned out. So it's a personal thing, but it really kind of effed me up to where like I really didn't feel like kind of putting out anything. And then I did check my video, so like I said, hopefully that's not gonna happen again. Hopefully the playoffs won't make me as sad as it was. But I'm over here looking at Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn, and I'm looking at a live plate first hit for about $12, like $13. This is kind of crazy. This is like, to be honest, like the last time Minerva was good was when like you had the dedicated Minerva Lightsworn deck, and ever since then it's just been a decent like nil option. But a lot of people rather go to like Chaos Ruler, they rather go to these other options. You honestly have support for Lightsworns coming out pretty soon. On top of that, since Tier Elements got a lot of stuff hit, you might see them kind of run some type of rank 4 package to be able to go to Minerva to start detaching to kind of get some extra mills. So I don't know, I don't know. This price right here just makes sense because maybe Tier Elements trying it, and at the same time you got support. So if you have some extra Minervas, you don't care about them, I would offload them now before they get reprinted. Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. This right here is a budget option that I thought was going to be more budget. You got a whole, the secret rares are like really high, but if you want to go right here, even the secret rares are pretty budget for like, you know, like what I think this is. But like, to be honest, like to me personally, you're looking at about like heavily played first hit about $6. We're looking at about like $8 for the ultra rare of this card. I feel like this is like a budget option for either Zeus or Typhon. Like I guess like the whole mentality I have is like, someone on my local said if you're playing Typhon, you're already losing anyway. So like pretty much for the most part, you're probably gonna be in a position where Evil Swarm Exciton Knight could just kind of go off. You know, I do understand that this does destroy. So depending on the matchup, it doesn't really have. If it's Unchained, it does their effects. If it's Fire King, then it gets their effects. But for like I said, if you're not trying to pay the crazy price of a Typhon and you kind of just want something that's like crazy impactful that you could go into, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, if you get rank 4s out, is pretty good. And yeah, and the reason why I kind of brought this up, it says $8 option, but if you know, like I said, you could also run Zeus. Zeus is another option. But to be honest, I did not know about this next card, Typhon. My god, I thought this was a troll. $37.99, I was like, oh, that's probably a troll. And to be honest, in a way, it kind of was a little bit, but $29, $27, $28, $28, we're looking at about $28 to $29, $30 basically for this card, and I did not know Typhon had just completely skyrocketed to this amount. I regret not picking up more Typhons. I have my one Typhon, and I'm glad I didn't sell it. I was contemplating getting rid of it, but then I decided to keep it. Man, it has just completely gone up simply because of Age of Overlord is a really good set, and even though Typhon technically you only play it when you're losing, so it's like you're like you're in a bad spot anyway. Depending on what you have in your hand, you could really get out of it, because the problem with Evos on Exciton Knight is a budget option, but if you can't go into rank 4s, or if you have too many cards in your hand and if the advantage is not in your favor, then the card is not able to do what it's supposed to do. Typhon, it doesn't matter. You could have all the advantage. You go into a Typhon, get rid of something and then break a board from there, or use up your hand then go into a Typhon. So I like I said, I really kind of underestimated like the price power. I feel like I should have picked up more of these, but if you have a couple extra and you don't care about them, they are crazy. They're like $30 right now. And the last card I want to talk about is El Shaddoll Winda. So I have actually decided to pick up the Dogmatika. The Dogmatika Fire King deck is one of the decks that I'm trying to play. To be honest, like I wanted to play Lab, and I'm kind of going back and forth because the transaction rollback is a lot of money. So hopefully it kind of goes down. And I'm probably gonna do a video talking about like my personal opinion about like prices and whatnot. But I'm playing the Dogmatika Fire King, and I really like that deck. And El Shaddoll Winda is a card that I feel was something that I personally didn't have. I thought I had a Winda. I looked through all my stuff, and I think I sold my Winda thinking I wasn't gonna use it. And like I said, I ended up completely, obviously I had to buy, I had to go buy a new one. Like, luckily the supers weren't that much. They're kind of in the $2 range. But I looked them up. The secrets are about like like they're $3.49. These ultras are $3.51. I remember when these secrets were at $7. I sold so many copies of these at $7 at one point, because like like me and my homie, like we kind of go back and forth. We bounce off ideas on what cards to invest in, and he went wild on these Windas, and I just had a big old stack of Winda, didn't know what to do with them. And then about like 2 years later, all of a sudden they're like freaking $7 a piece. So I have a feeling that Winda could potentially do that if it doesn't get a reprint. I do feel like they could kind of slip it in randomly, kind of somewhere, some type of set. But if you don't see Winda in the next reprint set, I wouldn't be surprised if you see these secrets at about like $7. So this is kind of just one of those things where this isn't really like, oh, everyone, didn't know that this went up. I'm just saying that this has potential to go up even higher. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.